Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, as you know, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to share some basic informations for yourself to build up a very clear foundation with your spiritual practice. Because most of time, when it comes to meditation, people have different opinions and they practice different techniques. And they have different kind of intentions. They are motivated by different kind of desires. So then it is your responsibility to look into you and see what is your motivation. And take some time and be very clear, because it doesn't matter whatever the conventional things that we look, but out of this meditation techniques, this mostly we try to build up a very good, very clear foundation for ourselves to develop the wisdom. So the wisdom is very necessary for every life. And when it comes to the wisdom, that we call it the Dharma. So the Dharma means law of nature. So we have to understand the very nature of our own life, and at the same time, the very nature of our environment. And once you recognize the very nature of your life, your body, your mind, your environment, and rather than manipulating it, if you are capable to harness with it, rather than disturbing to it, be with it, that is where you're going to get the ultimate bliss or the liberation or the transformation or the happiness. So in this meditation techniques, our very purpose is giving you a kind of like tools, giving you some informations, provide you some kind of knowledge for yourself to build up that happiness or the transformation. Harness to Dharma. Be with the law of nature. the very authentic way of your own existence, not imagination or not kind of like manipulated by idea or the vision, but the very organic, very sustainable way of existence. So when it comes to that, as you know, when it comes to today, the power is very important word. And sometimes people believe power of mind and the power of position and the power of economy or the power of this social medias and the power of these machines and technology, power of algorithm. So this kind of, out of this all, when it comes to our human life, there are two things always you have to remember. It doesn't matter whatever the outside power that you gain, but there are two things you always have to remember. One is the power of awareness and the power of the clarity. Out of that both, that whatever the environment can change and whatever even the person, the position, our appearance, our itself, our personality can change. So then always look into that power of the awareness and the power of the clarity. If you miss one of that, remember that whatever the power that you accumulate out of the outside world, it's not going to become successful. So then when it comes to our human world, as you know, in the Western world, it is very famous, where it is very familiar that we talk about follow your heart. So, but when it comes to Eastern world, there is a method, cultivate our heart, train our heart. So it is two different way of lifestyle. And today in the Western world, we are in this society, we go with the people and we cannot deny, we cannot resist, we cannot go against that nature, the follow your heart. And people so like it, people so love that word. And when you maintain, when you go with that, the very nature, why people like it? Because when you follow your heart, that the most of time in the Western world, that we know it's more into the soul, the idea of soul or the self. And mostly, it mostly depend on the self-centered mind. So now we have to bring a method how this concept or the idea can develop to the transformation rather than resist it. Because in the East, it's nothing to do with it. There is no that much talk about the soul. It's not that much valid, that kind of like a self-centered mind. It's always with the faith, with the discipline, it always they devote towards something, especially for a higher purpose. And that's why the devotion and the faith is so strong in the East. So then now, how we can balance these two? Rather than resisting, rejecting, how we can balance this both and bring the transformation? because the both has kind of like advantages and disadvantages. So, but if we bring the both together and develop the pattern and bring the transformation to our life, then that is the power of wisdom. So when it comes to the follow your heart, that's you are more resonate with you, and you have the more confident with you, and you have more kind of like a develop self abilities. And when you follow your heart, you develop a kind of like a very sustainable way of maintaining your life. And at the same time, you bring the willpower. That is one thing. When you follow your heart, that is what you get. You have the willpower. You have more self-confident. And you more independent. You depend with your own self-centered mind. So here, the mind and the heart, the both. So when it comes to the, as I mentioned from the beginning, the very law of nature. When it comes to law of nature, remember your body, your mind, your heart, this all work together. You can't separate it in the deeper level. In this conventional life, only for practice point of view, we separate that things. But remember here, when we mention the body, the mind, the heart, that all together you have to take. So when you follow your heart, as I mentioned, you gain that kind of qualities. And in the Eastern, when you come to cultivate your heart, train your heart, you look for very change yourself. And at the same time, you not hold it to as who you are, you're willing to change. And you accept to change. And then you look for something, because just by yourself, using your own thoughts, using your own mind, you can't bring that change. Because if you can do it, then you already have that. So that is one thing with when you follow your heart, that is one of the disadvantage that you have to recognize, because you have to use whatever the things that already you have, as example, the knowledge or the wisdom you already have. So then whatever you already have, using the same thing, you can't bring the change. That change, what we mean here, is not that outside the change. It's a deeper, complete transformation. So as example, this material, and maybe if we burn this and then make it liquid, and out of this we can bring something else, but we can't change the elements that carried with this. Somehow maybe we can create a cup, or maybe we can create a plate, or we can create many other things out of this. But the same material going to be there, but the shape going to be different. The same like when you follow your heart, what happens? You're going to use the same material, but maybe tomorrow you're going to be a different person with the outside layer, but the inside going to be the same person. Because you have to use the same thoughts to change. So if you use the same thoughts, that thoughts already there with you. That means you have to get that thoughts from your past experience, from your past understanding. So that is the very result of in this very moment, you. So then, if your thoughts in the past had the wisdom or capable to change you, then you should already have it. So now, when you go to cultivate your heart or the cultivate your mind, the cultivate your life, and the very purpose of the meditation also we mention as cultivation of your heart, then in the very first level, you drop that what you know. See that the difference. When you follow the heart, you hold it to what you know. When you cultivate the heart, you drop what you know. And then you look for some outside. So that is where the Buddha's teachings going to help for us. That is where you need the faith towards the teachings. Because you don't go with that what you know, you already start to listen to what the Buddha said. Why we need that? Because we know that already what we know is not capable to bring the ultimate transformation or the liberation. So then, once you have the faith towards the teachings, you start to look what the Buddha said about it. And Buddha never told anything, something that should follow according to what the Buddha said. But what the Buddha said, and Buddha gave some kind of formula, some kind of tools for ourselves to practice. So that is what the Buddha is teaching. So once you have it, then rather than hold it to your thoughts, you have to start to practice that. So then when you start to practice it, you should have the self-confidence again. And you have to have the some kind of strength and ability to keep continuing. And then you should have the wanting, the very will that yourself. And then again, you have to have the motivation yourself to bring the change to you. So then that when you follow the heart, you have this, the will, and you are motivated to change yourself to become a better person. And at the same time, you have the strength. So that here also, you gain the motivation yourself to change, and you have the will, and you have to put that strength. So see, like that, then the both ways have some kind of similarities. So that's why we have to see, and whatever disadvantage, we have to drop it, and then we have to. So other thing is with the disadvantages, with the cultivation, just imagine if in case, if you follow the wrong things, what will happen? Then you go in the wrong way. In case if you didn't find exactly the right tools to yourself, that your faith, your effort, that your believing system, because you completely drop that what you know and what you hold, you have the faith to surrender to the teaching. Just imagine in case if you get the something wrong teaching, what will happen to you? Then it's going to become a big trouble. So that's why when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, it always that you have to analyze. So whatever there are three ways that you gain you develop the wisdom. Shrutame jnane, one is called the listening, and open to the perception and gain the wisdom or the knowledge from outside. And chintame jnane, and not just getting it, and you developing your analytical mind, and recognizing and observing and understanding according to your capacity, and see how that teachings work. So in that very moment, what happened, if it doesn't work, then you are capable to drop it. Another thing is, and the bhavana me jnane, so by contemplating, and when once you put it to the practice deeper yourself, and you will recognize if doesn't work, you know it doesn't work. So another thing is, when it comes to any teachings, you have to be very careful. Somehow in some way, if it is increase your greed, hatred, or the delusion, it's not going to bring the ultimate wisdom to you. So then listen that whenever you practice, or whenever you listen to any talks, or whenever you follow any guru or teacher or monks, so you have very independent choice yourself, and look into that and say, out of that listening, out of that practice, if your greed increase, desires increase to hold it to the word, or the envy or the anger for anything, maybe. If any dislike increase in you, then how you can get that out from you? And the ignorance, that's mean the very, that you into always doubt, and you into always kind of like not knowingly reasons. You can't recognize, you don't know, there's no clarity in you. So remember in the beginning I mentioned the awareness and the clarity. So there is no clarity, there is no clear. So if it is not clear for you, so then remember, so you are following that path doesn't work, because you have the doubt, you don't know what is happening. That faith never going to take you to the end. It always take you to the trouble. So that's why every day we give some basic information before we practice a little bit, to yourself to be very clear with what you practice. We bring different way of that explanations and informations, and kind of like a different way of windows we open for yourself to look into the practice, because to give a very clear understanding. That is the very purpose. That is the only thing I can do from my side, from here to you. So then it is your responsibility to get the information and make it very clear yourself, because that is how even myself, I get into this practice. You know, I look into, I have to be very clear inside me when I go into practice. And it is just not only even with the meditation, it helped for me when I practice martial art, you know, because we start to look into the technique. And otherwise, when the master come, or the very senior, you know, our partners come and start to do something like kata, you know, like a form, or like a aikido technique, you know, and especially when we practice weapons, we can't understand how they do that. So then what we do, you know, we go step by step, and get the formula and understand to ourselves, okay, this is how it works. And then get the whole technique together, and then it make it very clear. So when it comes to the meditation, also the same, you know, and then by the time it helped for me, because I didn't go with only one thing. I go with the different teachers, and how they explain and why they explain it that way. So kind of like that. And it helped me for deeper to become very clear myself when I get practice. So that's why, you know, every day we give some. So it is what I want to mention. It is your responsibility yourself to be very clear when you listen or when you do something, when you practice yourself. It is your rights. Don't give up it. Don't with the blind faith, or don't believing somebody, or because of, look nice or say nice things, or, that say easy things, or kind of like, you don't need to go into this path because of that kind of things. It is good for kind of like, that this is not a kind of like a, nighttime show. That is the thing. This is more a little bit, you have to be calm, relax, and understand deeply just by yourself. That is where you can be. So that's where you can recognize your motivation. So once you get that, and you recognize how you can balance this, both sides, that follow your heart, cultivate your heart, bring this both together. So when it comes to that, the one of the important thing that you have, your body. So that is the first thing. So start to observe the body. When you observe your body, what you recognize, there are postures, maybe walking, sitting, lying down, standing. So just try to bring the attention to your body. And then you will see there is a nature in your body. It's not belong to what you think. So the body has its own way of language. So try to understand that. So that understanding itself brings some kind of wisdom, because the very purpose of our practice, recognizing, understanding law of nature. So what is the nature means? Your body, your mind, your thoughts, your heart, your life. That is the very result of nature, the environment. And sometimes when I ask from people what is nature, they forget themselves and they say about the trees, the bird, the sun, moon. They don't think they are belong to nature. So then here, in the Western world, as you know, it's very famous, it's called know thyself. That's you. It's because you are the nature. Without you, there's no nature that you can experience. You are the very result of nature. So when we come to now, remember, when we say law of nature, that's mean you, it is about you. So when you observe, you recognize not what you think. There is something in this body, it has its own way of behavior. So understanding that is very important. Another thing is, there is not that the body that you see this on this outside layer, on this skin. There are different layers in this body. And when you go deeper, it has a different way of behavior. So as example, the skin, the outside layer, is a different kind of body. So how about the inside the skin? Not going to the muscle, the other side of the skin. So it is a different kind of body. And how about the muscles? It's a different kind of body. And how about the skeleton? It is a different kind of body. So how about the nerve system? It is a different kind of body. And how about the blood circular system? It's a different kind of body. And go a little bit deeper, and you see the organs, and each and every organ has a different character. And then maybe in the outside world, we look with our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, we so busy with this perception and go crazy with this outside world, but inside your body, it's a different world. It's a different world. It's so deep. Through the vipassana, it gives access to that. It's so deep. And so when it becomes so deep, what we need, we have to have a very strong, clear mind. And we have to look deep. That is the technique that you develop with the meditation. Because we have no power. We don't develop that kind of system inside us to look deep. We look very shallow level. Because we caught up with the emotions or the desires or the wanting or like, dislike, comparison. So that kind of behavior hold us to see things very shallow level. But now we bring a method, it's grill, it's kind of like a go to the depth, go to the bottom. So that's the body. And when you sit and bring the attention and look into that, and that way you cultivate your mind, you cultivate your heart, you follow your heart, you cultivate your heart. So look into your body, observe. See the body and be aware about your bodily postures and look a little bit deeper. What is this? What is this? What is this? And then you will see. What you see the law of nature. Things happen as a result of another reason. And causation, cause and effect. And these things not happen because of what I think, or this is me, or like that way. You will recognize this, everything has a reason to become like that way. Then you become like a doctor. See that the doctors know when the patients come, and they know, and according to their informations, they can analyze what's going on. Why? Because they know the system. So like that, you recognize this. And once you recognize your body like that way, you recognize the law of nature within your body. Once you know that, from this point to eons by eons backward, that whoever as a human being came to this world, you know the very nature of the body. From here to eons by eons forward, and whoever going to be like a human, you know the very nature of the body. And that is where, once you know it, what will happen? The very nature of the mind, once it comes to the pinnacle, to the highest, it drops the desire. That's the very nature of the mind. So why we have the attachment? Why we have the desires? Because we never experience anything to the highest or the complete, to the 100%. That's why we keep going back. So somehow now you know to the 100% regarding your body. Anymore you have no desire regarding the body. That's where you get out of the body. And then with the mind, so you go to the mind, the same thing with the mind, that maybe just thoughts we hold as the mind, but when you go deeper, little by little, inside your mind, there is a so different world. There is a completely different world. That world is huge than this world that we see through, this universe we see through even the Hubble telescope. You're inside your mind. And not only that, it has different layers. So then you recognize the very nature of the mind. So once you recognize the nature of the mind or the nature of the heart, You recognize the very nature, law, where you recognize the law of nature. So now you know the mind, and then once you know the very behavior or the very nature, structure of the mind, what will happen? You can recognize the any behavior or the nature of the mind. So, but this is a method that you have to practice little by little. So then what we can do for that? So in the beginning, what we need to do, before we get into that, we have to sharp and train our mind to aim. That is where we become very lazy, aiming the mind, get into the target, train our mind to keep focus towards the target. And because mind always go here and there, and it always like, things and resist, dislike things, and it go with the imagination. That, as I mentioned, because this inner world is so big, and sometimes we get lost there. So then, that's why aiming the mind is very important. And once you can aim, even for a moment, that is the beginning of your success. So that's what we call the collective awareness, and bring the aim. So that is where we need a mental object. So we take our inhalation, exhalation as the primary mental object. So once you have it, keep aim again and again, focus, and bring the attention that keep. It's kind of like turning your mind towards the object, because the mind go here and there, and turn your mind always. That is practice. That is what we call the meditation. Turn your mind towards the object. That objects mean the primary mental object. And once you keep doing, little by little, what will happen? Your mind going to settle down with it. So inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. And when you do it, don't try to mentally image, kind of like that, follow the imagination. Don't command yourself. Don't try to talk yourself. Don't keep counting or kind of like that. Just allow it to happen. And when it happens, through the sensation, catch it or recognize it. And so once you recognize that way, inhalation as inhalation, exhalation as exhalation. So once you get into that, little by little, try to settle down there and bring the attention to your own awareness and try to be with it. Try to be with the recognition that you experience in the moment. And once you settle down that way, from that point, you will slowly get access to your inner mind and inner behavior. And that inner behavior, inner access will show you what is the very nature of inside you. So, but it is not what you think. That's why you have to see. To see, you have to get access. When you get access, what you need, aim or the target, and focus, attention. And once you have it, and with that clarity, when you see, your mind become more sharp and clear to see deeper. So because once you go inside, it is so deep, now you look deep, you'll see deep. And that is where you see what is happening there. So that is one way of get access to this insight. So let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Swapatveva or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. When it happens to the sensation, recognize it. Do nothing extra. So your inhalation, exhalations also has different layers. So try to recognize it. Bring my attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance, or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata-chami sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya imaya dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadhi maranam paribundisami idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.